Hi, my name is Kathy Lindenbaum, and I serve as your New Jersey PTA president. As our country contemplates the events which have occurred over these past few months, the deaths of George Floyd and Rashad Brooks, the unwavering activists protesting against systematic racism, the countless unjust acts by police officers against the Black communities, the unity of people joining forces in seeking police reform, we at New Jersey PTA stand with those who denounce bigotry and condemn all acts of racism. Our mission, as all PTAs, is to ensure that every child, no matter their race, religion, sexual orientation, and creed, is provided with an equal education, safety and security, and an equal chance to succeed in life. It will continue to be our objective. It is for these reasons that this month's New Jersey PTA Advocacy Moment, addressed by Valerie Holman, will focus on these important issues. Thank you for joining us, and we at New Jersey PTA wish you well during these challenging times.
Hello, my name is Valerie Holman, a member of the New Jersey PTA Legislative Committee. And for my advocacy moment, I chose to ask, what will you do now in light of the protests led by Black Lives Matter? As many of us watch the unfolding events on our TVs of the George Floyd death and subsequent protest, I have been struck by how these scenes carry me back to the death of Dr. Martin Luther King in 1968, the beating of Rodney King in 1991, and the many deaths while being Black in America. These incidences, which covered a span of 62 years, reminded me of the fear I felt as a teen in 1968, the horror I felt in 1991 watching that beating of Rodney King, and shock when the police officers were all acquitted, and now complete disbelief in 2020. How can these things keep happening? How come America has not progressed and come to terms with the fact that we are all the same? However, what I do recognize is that this time it's different. This time, through the stark reality of cell phone video, we collectively watch the murder and lynching, as some people characterized it, of an individual by a nonchalant, hands-in-pockets officer of the peace. It was disturbing, and the world witnessed it. What was this? A colonial hunter standing on his prey, posing for his trophy picture? Another individual who had little regard for the huge Black man that he controlled with a knee on his neck? Either way, it was vile, and America saw it. White America finally saw it. The whole world saw it. However, this time I am encouraged by the masses' reaction to George Floyd's death. This time, it's not just Black people who are marching in the streets for Black Lives Matter, but people all over the world who join the ranks and are all so outraged no matter what color they are. And they will not be silenced. Now, I don't believe in rioting, but I hope you understand that sometimes rage blinds your sense of community, especially when met with total disregard, disbelief, or outright anger. We could only pray that both sides regain cooler heads, because this is a problem that affects us all. Not only does it breed people who lack hope, it also breeds people who don't see their systemic privilege. Back in 1968, a day after Dr. Martin Luther King was shot, Jane Elliott, a teacher in Riceville, Iowa, in an effort to do something productive, conducted an exercise with her third grade class that has been the catalyst for many training sessions on recognizing white privilege. The blue eyes, brown eyes exercise. For as long as it's been around and for as many times as it's been used, I don't understand how everyone in 2020 hasn't been exposed. It just goes to show how a public education institution is so important for the education of a country. When educational institutions are erected with a different agenda, lessons that should have been learned are cast to the side. As we celebrate the 50th year anniversary of the unification of the National Parent Teachers Association and the National Congress of Colored Parents and Teachers, let us reflect on the forward thinking of our organization. How lucky we are that our PTA founders and forerunners wanted to act for all people, regardless of their race. And it appears that the decisions made then are the decisions that have helped shape this country to consistently leap towards the future. Case in point, Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka, which helped bring about social integration. Teachers and parents have been the facilitators to educate both students and parents over the years on many different subjects, and we continue that practice now. The PTA is uniquely structured to advocate at every level, local, state, and nationally, on these topics, and the PTA believes this is the time for us to be as vocal as other organizations that stand with Black Lives Matter. We at New Jersey PTA will continue to advocate for an equal education for all students. So what should each of us do now? As one website suggests, read, listen, donate, plan, march, vote, speak out, step in, and step up. We are all in this together. In the words of Desmond Tutu, my humanity is bound up in yours, for we can only be human together. To learn more about this subject and related issues, here are a few resources I would like to recommend. Black Lives Matter, www.blacklivesmatter.com. Where do we go from here? Conversation led by Oprah at www.oprah.com or Comcast on demand. NAACP, We Are Done Dying, www.naacp.com. A Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival, www.poorpeoplescampaign.org. Can also be found at Reverend Dr. Barber, or at Liz Theo, or at Cornell West, or at Timothy B. Tyson, or hashtag Poor People's Campaign. The Anti-Defamation League, ADL, George Floyd, Racism and Law Enforcement, and Fighting Anti-Semitism and Hate, at www.adl.org. And finally, PBS, A Class Divided, can be found on YouTube, full film by Frontline, Blue Eyes, Brown Eyes exercise. I thank all of you for listening.